Staying with politics, he's the deputy leader of the Green Party of Canada. And today, Jonathan Pedno was speaking with students at the College of the North Atlantic in St. John's. Now, before battling it out in the political arena, Pedno worked in war zones. He spoke with on-the-go host Anthony Germain about that and about spreading the Green Party's platform in a province deeply rooted in the oil industry.
Why are you here? Why are you in St. John's?
It's my first visit outside of Montreal, Ottawa, Toronto since getting elected, and I thought it was very important for me, for us as Greens, to show presence here in Newfoundland. I think as a Quebecer, and you'll probably hear that in my accent, I think Newfoundland and Quebec share a lot, actually, share this sort of feeling of disconnect from Ottawa, from the federal government. Quite often people, I think, may feel a bit estranged from federal politicians, and I thought it was important for us to show that we can be here and that we can listen, and that's exactly what I came here to do.
It's interesting that your home province is hydroelectric power. This province still relies heavily on a lot of royalties and revenue from the oil industry. Do you feel like you're coming into hostile territory?
Not at all. Not at all. I mean, first and foremost, Newfoundlanders and Labradorians are lovely people. They're people who understand what tough times mean. They're people who look after one another. These are all strong values that are dear to me, but also dear to the party that I represent. Now, as a Quebecer, I have to say, I think it's deplorable that Quebec is making so much money on the back of Newfoundland. And I have to say, I mean, we've been proposing for many years at the Green Party that we build a national electric grid. That's been one of our main proposals. That's the kind of stuff that would help Newfoundland make profits off Churchill Falls, but also Muskrat Falls. And that's exactly the kind of stuff that I think would be good for this province.
You know, I had Churchill Falls on my list of questions, but I'm really glad you brought it up before I did.
Sure.
Because that's not really in line with what I think the position of the government of Quebec is.
No. But we're a federation. We're a country. When it comes to interprovincial, provincial issues, the federal government has a role to play. I think it's high time that Newfoundland should be able to export its own electricity to other provinces.
You bring up an interesting point, because Prime Minister Justin Trudeau could insist, and the federal government could insist, that Quebec allow this province to sell its electricity through its network.
Well, the feds could insist on a lot of things, including healthcare, and they're not. There's a clear lack of leadership when it comes to intergovernmental relations in this country right now, and we're seeing Canadians are feeling the burden of that.
You know, as a keen observer of politics, I have to say I'm interested in you on a bunch of levels, and I telegraphed a warning that I was going to ask you this, but I sort of see, a young man of color who's bilingual, who has a resume with impeccable credentials in human rights with Amnesty International, Human Rights Watch, your time in Africa. You even worked with a certain filmmaker named Trudeau in your past. Why not the Bloc or the Liberals or the NDP? Why the Green Party?
Well, the Bloc certainly not. I mean, I am a Federalist. And why the Green Party? Because it's a party that doesn't tolerate bullshit. And I'll say it as it is. Excuse my French, CBC, but it is as it is.
There's the clip of the year.
There's the clip of the year.
Yeah.
Look, I mean, I'm a former journalist. I'm a former human rights investigator. I've been around a lot of politicians. I used to be a liberal. I used to be a liberal, like many other people who believed in the potential that Justin brought to politics to some extent. I mean, lots of promises, exciting promises on electoral reform, giving a voice to all Canadians, on reducing inequalities in this country, and look at where we are right now. You know, I lived abroad for 9 years, came back, living in Ottawa right now, and around my apartment is full of homeless people, and it's tragic. And the levels of inequalities have increased in this country more than I remember in my lifetime. Mind you, I'm quite young, 32, so haven't seen it all. But I think it's high time that we elect politicians who aren't there to protect the status quo, and that's exactly what the Conservatives, the Liberals have been doing all along. We're not against people having jobs. and we understand that a lot of Newfoundlanders.
Yeah.
Thank you. That's my Quebec accent
There
coming
you
out
go.
now.
Yeah.
A lot of Newfoundlanders are reliant on the oil industry. The goal for us is not to pull the plug right away. It's to ensure that there is a just transition. And I will question this here. This is not official policy or Green Party policy, but let me just, based on my own experience, I lived in Norway for 5 years. This is a place where the government took the decision many years ago of nationalizing the oil industry.
A major oil producer.
Yes,
Yeah.
and now who's going to be operating Bay du Nord here? Equinor. Equinor is a Norwegian company. Where are the profits of Canadian oil going to go? To the sovereign fund of Norway. What is this money going to be used for? Transitioning their own economy, making sure that their communities are safe. Why is it that we continue in Canada not only to subsidize with billions of dollars the big oil industry, but why is it that we also refuse to tax them appropriately? Why is it that most of the profits are going abroad to foreign investors? That is a question.